Hello, hello, guys. Haven't talked in a bit. How we doing tonight? Hello, hello. I'm doing great. Thank you, Seb. Little tired. Little tired. Big weekend. But, I say it almost every week. When I get back to my charts, it just feels awesome. Very happy whenever I get back on my charts. As per what we're seeing specifically now, that makes me a little less happy. Price is unclear to me. It has been for the last 2 weeks. And, even then, we still find profitable intraday frameworks, right? We still have a lot of opportunity, but it doesn't mean it's easy, right? At least for myself, where my main understanding, my main trading that I do is based on the daily expansion, where on days where the direction of that daily expansion is unclear, it's very hard for me to just figure out what direction I'm going to be trading, right? And in times like these, I've told you guys multiple times before, I just look at intraday frameworks, I look at retracements to opening prices, I look at session liquidity, and I look at the daily structure. What I mean by that, AMD fractals and open high low close, open low high close, right? This is all stuff that we've covered at length during the PA reviews. I do want to mention as well, I'm going to start taking note of the specific concepts that we discuss during PA reviews, and I'm going to create a database of knowledge pretty much. So, for example, someone has a harder time with breakers, I'm going to create some form of section where he tells you where if you have a hard time with breakers, they've been outlined recently in this price action review. So, I'm going to do stuff like that. Hopefully, I might do it in Discord. I was going to ask you guys could give me some insight. I would love your feedback. I was maybe thinking of doing a channel, a little like resources, or perhaps even within the resources channel, where I could just say, for example, ICT breaker block, and then I just link all the videos where I talk about it. Or I could do that externally outside the Discord. What do you guys think would be best in this case? Would love you guys' opinion. I don't know. I'm gonna give you all a second to type. It's always awkward, a little timing, where I ask a question and just waiting for you guys to type it out. Inside Discord, I think would be the best in terms of accessibility. Yeah, making it all at the same place, right? Not overcomplicating it by making a website or something. I was just thinking because maybe some people, I don't know, don't want to be a part of the Discord, but I still want them to have access to those resources, which I guess they do if they just want to go on YouTube. So that works. Thank you. Appreciate your opinions, guys. Pretty all around in Discord. All right. Well, I'll make sure to start working on that actually this week, right? Because I'm not gonna go into the past and look at the past peer reviews. You could do both for the non-Discorders. Yeah, perhaps. You know what? Well, for as you named them, the non-Discorders who are gonna be watching this later today, tonight, I guess. Give me your opinions in the comments. I would appreciate that. All right, but just to get back into price, right? Very bearish, very bearish. Expanded past previous month low. We have previous. Why is this previous weekly low? Did we open yet? Yes. So why is this previous weekly low? Well, see, there is an error here. So I'm going to remove those. And let's forget that I ever mentioned this indicator for now. But we expanded past, where is previous week low? There it is. So this is previous week low right here. And we just expanding past it today. So this shows that we are bearish, right? We are clearly very bearish overall in the recent trend, right? I always say this. I look at the past 2-3 weeks, past 2-3 months. It's just easy to visualize. So very simple. Since the start of 2025, we had a little bit of consolidation, but now we've just been bearish. So, what is the highest probability direction that will continue forward? Well, continuation, right? Always trade with the trend, Don't look for reversals, wait for them to happen, and then expand off of that knowledge. All right. So from that point, I'm going to be expecting lower prices, just going to be interacting with it. Of course, we could have some very impactful news. For example, the president opening his mouth, saying some bullish bullshit, and then we fully reverse and can go to our higher objectives, which I would appreciate very much. In my mind, the important thing about times like these is not knowing where it's going. It's understanding how it will do for both direction, how it will get there. I'm more in tune with longs. I would love longs. I would absolutely love longs. But for longs to happen, we need to form a swing tomorrow, and Wednesday needs to expand higher, right? So how am I going to do that? Well, tomorrow I'm going to have an unclear bias, right? Because if I expect it's going to form a swing, it could break previous day low, it could not. We expanded past these levels, so I'm going to expect some bearish price action, but I'm also going to be open for longs after my bearish objectives. For example, previous day low will be met, right? This is a framework I've traded hundreds of times. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to look for a reversal to then go higher. And if we do go higher, and here I'll draw it out so that you guys can follow along. If on Wednesday we do go higher, then Thursday and Friday will offer continuation and retracement opportunities. Now that would be a great scenario, but that's for bullish. What if we're bearish? If we're bearish, how exactly are we going to get lower? And this is where I want to bring in our new week opening gaps, because we're within what I like to call a cluster, right? Not something I'm branding or anything, or no patent there. Just like to call a cluster. Why? Because we're trading within a lot of nearby new week opening gaps. What does that mean? Well, I expect consolidation. Until we break out past one of those gaps, in my mind, it's just going to be consolidating. So until then, what are my objectives? Well, these new week opening gaps. So if we go lower, I'm going to look for price to trade to that new week opening gap, more specifically, at least to the 50% level. And this is something I want to see early on in the week. So going into tomorrow, I have a clear bias. And now, if we expand past this new week opening gap, I'm going to look for retest and continuation opportunities. If we seem to be consolidating within it and have a hard time breaking out, then this is where I'm going to look for reversal and expect still the week to close bearish, but perhaps lower basically than the open, or could even trade all the way back to this week's new week opening gaps. So as I said, it's not about understanding where it's going to go. It's really more about understanding how it's going to get there. Is that an analog indie or hand drawn? It's an indicator, opening gaps. I've been basically hinting at it for a while now, but right after this review, all of the Rice statistics indicators are going to be released. So we have a few of them, and they are going to be released. Quite happy that finally we can get there. I like how it shows the CE. Yeah, those are all options. You can choose to showcase the midlines. You can also choose to showcase quarters. Of course, there are some fill parameters that you can use. So with a dynamic fill as well, you know, there a lot of options. There. I'm glad you guys enjoy the first looks at it. It's for simplicity's sake, right? It takes time to draw these things out. So I wanted to have a full range of indicators that could allow for simplicity. And I thought, well, you know what? The people who have been within Rice statistics sometimes have a hard time understanding the frameworks behind it. Why? Because there are no visuals. So now, at no additional cost, they will be added to the Rice Statistics subscription. So I think that's a cool thing. And of course, if you guys are big followers of the key times and opening prices indicator, I'm not removing it. I'm not deleting it. It's not going anywhere. So for anyone that wants access to that one for free, it's always going to be there. It's the first one I made and will always remain free. That's the promise I made when I released it. So that's not going anywhere. But yes, just from this cluster, I don't use Event Horizon, which is basically the midpoint between the two most recent. It's not interesting to me. But what I sometimes use is form a range from the NWOGs. So from this, and I like to split it even further into quarters, from this, I get my premium and discount. So now we're in discount. High probability longs, low probability shorts. I understand this. And even then, I'm telling you guys, tomorrow I'm going to be looking for shorts. But the goal of this week is to look for higher. I believe, just as Cozy said, these are going to be um, the easier trades, I guess. Don't say cheap, Cozy. All right? Don't say cheap. I mean, those are premium tools, right? And they are paid. Why? Because I've spent hundreds of hours working on them altogether, right? So I believe that they should have a price tag associated with it to value my time. But it doesn't mean I'm going to entice people to use them. There are a bunch of free alternatives. Are they as good? Are they as clean? Do they offer all those options? No, they don't, but they are free, right? So if you're just looking for some easy ones, I mean, I still have some linked in Discord, which they are going to leave now, but there are a bunch of free indicators that you can use that will achieve a similar outcome, but it won't be to the same level, I guess, is the best way to put it. But do we have any questions, right? The two drawings I just made, the two paths, is what I'm going to be focusing on. If we go lower, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at a potential reversal midweek. If we are to go higher, we still showed a lot of bearish intent. So I want to see a clear close above these levels and, more importantly, above this new week opening gap. Pretty straightforward stuff, right? And I mean, when price is trending like this, it's very easy to understand where it's going next, right? Because it's already displacing towards them. But when we're stuck within a range filled with new week opening gaps, which are just consolidation magnets, I guess is the best way to put it, we need to wait for an expansion to occur. But as day traders, what is fun is that we don't have to wait. We can still trade some probabilities on the lower time frames and statistical frameworks that we know that no matter the market conditions, they will still showcase a high degree of efficiency. And I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm guessing it was all clear. Of course, not a lot of content today, but give me a little thumbs up or something if everything was all clear. These outlooks are always a lot shorter, I guess is the best way to put it, because I use very simple logic. I mean, this is probably the most complicated I've brought it in a while now, looking at all NWOGs, how I'm going to be interacting with this range, what I'm looking for specifically at which levels. Awesome. All right. Well, on that note, guys, I wish you all the best. Good luck trading this week. If you've already started trading, I know I wasn't. Monday no news is not all very interesting to me. Well, I wish you luck, right? Hope you had a great day if you did trade today. And if not, we'll see each other tomorrow night for first price action review of the week. We'll have every day but Friday, if I'm not mistaken, right? I sent the news yesterday. Oh, even Friday we have consumer sentiment. You know what? Let's do every day. We're going to have 4 peer reviews because consumer sentiment used to be a high impact news event, the University of Michigan consumer sentiment. So we're going to be looking at all of that. So we're going to have 4 peer reviews this week. Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.